have been fighting people called second-hand motor vehicle dealers. Now, 2/3 of them don't have permits, but they are operating because they have paid some of your people and they bribe them every day. And you see, the question is, we need to scan this environment and figure out what we are going to do in terms of enforcement. Let's pick out the frontline institutions in the regulatory infrastructure and then see how we can scan and make those institutions effective. Because if immigration is not effective in terms of issuance of work permits and knowing who is around and who's doing business, who comes into the country and what they do, we'll end up with cases we have been dealing with. They have been called to Parliament before to defend so-called Turkish investors who don't even have a bank account. And they are just operating around with senior politicians and saying they're investors, carrying briefcases, and they don't even have a bank account and so on and so forth. And no one knows their address in town. Now we have Venezuelans. You know, so the issue is, if that is not tidied up, you will have a problem. Secondly, look at other regulatory actors, including our very own police. I keep talking to my brother Matiangi every day about these challenges that we face. Enforcement and regulation must go hand in hand. I propose, Micah, that in the next study, let's categorize institutions and pick out what we call frontline institutions, scan them and figure out where the weaknesses are, because a chain is as strong as its weakest point. Where we are weak is where we need to strengthen so that we can manage and ensure that our money laundering does not affect us, as it were.
The entirety of the education sector, that you can count on us to rise up to the challenge, and we will stand by you and with you as you do this important national exercise. We too will reschedule leave days, but we have now gotten used to doing this. When we have national campaigns and national activities, we reorganize our leave days in such a way that we are available to our colleagues and to support them to administer exams. I want to assure everyone that we will do as we have done before, that cooperate very effectively with our colleagues at the Ministry of Education and ensure that exams are administered smoothly across the country. I know we have certain security challenges in North Rift, parts of Lamu, and parts of Northeastern Province. We have made special provisions for this. That is why I am accompanied in this meeting by the Deputy Inspector General of Police, who is in charge of special duties, Mr. Gabo. Mr. Gabo is the one who deploys our special teams across the country, our RDU, our SOG, our QRT, and the strong teams that we have around. He has mapped these areas in the country. He has sufficient resources. He is ready, prepared for the assignment that we are just about to undertake. But as we do so, however, I would like to emphasize that we also have to be responsible people. On this particular one, I have to be very sincere with you, my colleagues, and say that we have to be responsible public servants and do what we have been asked to do. Some level of dereliction of duty is unacceptable. The attack we had on a school bus in Todd last night ought not to have happened in the first place, because that school was in violation of government policy of moving children beyond 6 o'clock at night. The attack took place at 10:30. I've spoken to the Inspector General of Police this morning. You good people in education and in particular TSC will do your job after we have done ours. And I agree with the Inspector General, we will arrest that principal and he has to be prosecuted for violating public policy. Because you see, these things are not in place just for the heck of it. They are there because we want to keep our children safe. Whether our kids are in Nairobi or in Nakuru or in Kisii or wherever they are, no school buses are supposed to be on the road beyond 6:30 in the evening, period. And in an area where we have an operation, it's much more important that we are more careful about the responsibilities that we have and about the safety of our kids. So I want to ask you, Professor Magwa and my colleagues in the Ministry of Education, that we follow these policies very effectively. But that does not mean that we are also not going to pursue the bandits as we ought to. We have an operation going on in that part of our country. In fact, I just came close to declaring curfew in that part of the country, just as I did in Lamu, so that it gives us an opportunity to limit movement and to be able to sort out some of the security issues there. But we are going to step further because I was in North Rift a third time 2 weeks ago, sitting down with the leaders, trying to find out solutions to the problem there. Next week, I am going to the National Security Council to seek authorization of the council to declare the Pokot Warriors and the Pokot movement there an outlawed organization, and we will categorize them the same way we categorize MRC and the terror groups that we have in the country. What that means in terms of security is that we are going to apply a new level of force and fire to wipe out that organization, because it's no longer a matter of cattle rustling, because what cattle were in that bus that they attacked? Because if they are interested in cattle, if it's about cattle rustling, those are innocent kids going back home, despite the mistake that was made by their teachers. So what animals were in that bus that required that those kids and teachers be attacked? It's abundantly clear to us that this is a criminal organization that is disguised as a card rustling effort. And we have said this time and time again, that some of the activities that appear to be like card rustling in the North Rift part of our country are essentially organized criminal enterprises. We've tried to adopt civilian methods of resolving some of them, but it's clear also that that time has come for us to approach that situation differently. And subject to the clearance of the council, I will gazette that organization next week as an outlawed group of people. And we will go after them with unprecedented fire so that we wipe them out. Because there's nothing else we are going to do. We can't keep going on and on this. But while that's happening, we ask the leaders in that part of our country to also do their bit. Bullets and guns don't bring peace, and they don't solve problems. Problems are solved by intercommunal conversations, proper investment in the livelihood and welfare of these people. That is what will help us sort out the problem in that part of our country. It has been going on for 2 decades. It's shameful, and it's a fact. They know it. I told some of them when we met last week. You can't spend CDF resources buying bullets and hope that that is going to solve your problem. We are all taking our children to school. That's what the modern society is doing. We take people to school so that they participate in modern ways of life. You cannot be proud that your people are living in the Stone Age ways and moving around with firearms. You should be ashamed of it. And you should work hard to get them out of those caves so that they come out, go to school, build technical institutions for them, and ensure that these people achieve a normal livelihood. But enough for security issues. I think away from that, Professor, I promise, as always, that we will be available. We will work with you. We will go to the containers with you. We will be around with all these colleagues to ensure that the exams are administered effectively. And we will stop at nothing to ensure that we give our children the best possible attention during this particular time. We will have a command center, as we usually do, at the Ministry of Interior. Immediately this exercise commences, I know that we have a command center at the Matiangi place, but we also, because of security reasons, we also put up one in place so that we're able to immediately know what kind of resources we need to share where we can. So our collaboration has worked very well in the past. I have no reason to believe we are going to have a problem. And by faith and by the grace of God, I am looking forward to this exercise, and I know we will succeed to the honor and glory of God. God bless you, good people, and let's get on with the work. Thank you.